Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of the Bolt City Podcast. As we do this show, we're a day out of Monday Night Football as we saw the Broncos, of course, in our division, knock off the Buffalo Bills. So we have an idea of now what the standings are, what the Chargers have to do, where everybody in the division stands. And guys, overall, who would have thought at this point in the season that the division would look the way it does? At the top, we knew what it was going to be. But the most disappointing thing about the AFC West has to be where our Los Angeles Chargers are.
Do you think people actually feel that outside of Charger fans? Because I think a lot of people look at the Chargers as a team that's just never going to put it together. You guys have had tons of talent since the LT days, and you guys still don't win.
Before that,
When people, before that,
going
even
back to the
before that,
80s, even late 70s.
I wasn't alive. Okay, let's keep it to
I
the LT
was, and it
days.
was sad.
Yeah,
You
come
know,
on.
yeah, we know.
Yeah.
Okay,
The world
Kellen wins
existed
both.
before you two youngsters were born.
It
Just so you
did.
know. Yeah.
Anyways, the way people look at the Chargers is you guys always have talent. You've had good quarterbacks for the last 20 years. You can't win. The Chargers being around 500 sounds about right to other people. To us, it sounds crazy because we know this team and we see how good they can possibly be, but they can't put it together. There's never a game, we've talked about it for the last 2 weeks, where the offense plays good and the defense plays good at the same time. It's always one or the other, and this is just where they should be. The Chargers record reflects of how good they've played this year.
I think it's a very good way to put it. The record represents where they should be. I mean, they've not put a consistent game together. They haven't been a consistent team. And look, now they're third in division, tied for last technically, but they have some type of advantage over the Broncos. So you look at that and go, all right, this is not a good sign. The Raiders obviously are going to come back down to earth at some point with Antonio Pierce as head coach, but the Broncos are quickly coming. And it does not feel good to be a Charger fan right now. And you think, are we about to waste another good Herbert year, or are you about to waste another good Keenan Allen year? So it's time to panic. Heart rate's getting up. As for our fans, our Dave's age, maybe it's time you take the blood pressure medicine because it's a stressful time right now.
It's what time? What did you
Stressful
call it?
time. Stressful time.
It is.
Blood
It is.
pressure.
It is a
Yeah.
stressful time right now. All right. Okay. So a couple things here. One is, you always want to face teams when they're playing like at the worst. Like when you overall, you look at the Chargers record and you're disappointed and you're like, man, we got the Vikings at the right time. Like right now, you wouldn't want to play the Vikings, right? The Vikings are red hot. And you're going, I don't even know what that team is. And it's amazing that they keep winning games with Justin Jefferson out. And will they be better? But right now, we talk about momentum. The Vikings have it. They believe in themselves. All of a sudden, they're a different team. The Chargers right now being where the Broncos are drives me crazy because when I think of the seasons of these two teams and the jokes we made about Russell Wilson and Peyton, we're going, God, we're lucky those idiots are in our division. And guess what? We're tied with those guys. Like, how did this happen? Is this some kind of sick joke? Like, I've been around the NFL season all of 2023. I haven't missed a game like you guys. But I still can't figure out how the Raiders are 5-5. Like, how the hell did that happen? Doesn't it feel like the Raiders had a much worse year than the Chargers? The standings are crazy of how much these guys have underachieved. And look, when you say, Mario, do you want to waste a Keenan Allen year? That's the one guy that stands out. Everyone else's years, as far as wasting, I don't feel like Justin Herbert. I honestly believe Justin Herbert's going to play another 10 more years. Keenan Allen, man, is on borrowed time. Like, we literally think we're lucky to get 2 or 3 years out of Keenan. You're wasting time. You're wasting talent. You're wasting chances. And for me, it's extremely frustrating to see where they're at. Now, look, we have called for this now for a year and a half to the point where the Chargers have literally called and told us enough. Like, you guys are too tough on our coach, right? Pretty upset. Wouldn't let us into the Dolphins-Chargers game. Didn't like the stuff that we had to say about Coach Staley. Now, all of a sudden, it's become a national story that everyone's saying the Chargers need to pull the trigger. And so Staley needs to go. The Raiders did it, and look how the Raiders look like a different team. Look, the Chargers have a ton of ability, and at the same time, the Chargers are, to me, on paper, a lot better than what the Raiders are. Just like I said on Sunday when I watched the Lions take on the Chargers, you watch that game and you go, man, there's so much more talent on the Lions roster than the Chargers roster. It looked like it to us. But for the Raiders and Chargers, those guys right there, the Chargers have a better team, have a better roster. You're wasting time. Is Coach Staley getting in the way, Josh? Because you see where the defense is at. You see how the Chargers have struggled over and over again defensively. You have a defensive coach. How is this, going back to what you said, your team's identity? How is this your team's identity to go, we have a defensive coach that can't play defense?
Yeah, before I answer the question, aren't we supposed to go tarps off today for the show?
We are.
Yeah.
We're supposed to go.
I forgot about that. So we got to go. Yeah. So for people that don't know,
This is Mario's idea.
1,000 subscribers. It was 1,000 subscribers. Shout out to you guys. Love the Bullet City family. Cover your eyes because
Dude, I got big time
loaded.
baseball tan here. That's baseball coach.
We're not judging.
Dave,
No judge. Judgment
Yeah,
free zone.
no.
You're good.
I'm
Why is
judging,
it-
but everyone else is not.
Dude, hold on. I got it. I suffered a major injury yesterday, Mario. This isn't easy for me. Hold on.
We're gonna get to it. We're
Wait,
gonna get
what
to
was
it.
your- Okay.
Yeah, no,
God
we'll
dang
get to it. We'll get
This
to
is
it.
a horrible idea.
All right.
I
Well,
did, dude,
Dave.
no joke.
Well, Dave does this. I'll answer the
Damn,
question.
that hurt like hell,
All right.
dude. I'm about to start crying right on there.
Oh
I
God.
look dumb as well. I look worse than all you guys. Look at this baseball tan.
Yeah.
Damn, dude. Can you see
Fine,
my
dude.
bones? Okay.
Nah, you look. No, you're fine, dude. You're
you're good.
obviously the most jacked one on the show, and you're the oldest one. So what does that say
Yeah.
about me and Mario? Anyways, Antonio Pierce is the personality of the Raiders.
This is
right?
the
And we talk
dumbest
about
three squares I've ever seen in broadcasting. We all look like
screenshotting.
we're just doing it straight out
Yeah.
naked. It looks awful.
We do look. It looks a little sus. If I would throw that in
Yeah.
there, but that's okay.
I'm going no shirt and no shorts just to get into the vibe
Yeah.
of the show today.
Yeah.
So I'm just naked.
I'm waiting
That's
for
good.
2,000
Yeah.
followers before I go pantless.
Yeah.
We'll get there. A couple weeks. Anyways, I 100% believe that a team can take on the identity of the coach. When Dan Campbell runs the ball on 4th and 5, that is a Dan Campbell type thing, Mario. Like that's what he does. That's what the Lions are. You can see that they're aggressive. We talked about it in week 2, right? When the Chargers play the Titans. When it's between the 40 and the 40 and it's less than 3 yards, Mike Vrabel doesn't even think about it. And his team sucks. He doesn't even think about it. We're going to go for it on 4th down because we're not going to let the other team punch us in the face. We're going to punch them in the face. And if we don't get it, well, hell, we tried. We talked about on the last show also, Brandon Staley going for it on 4th down. It's so hit or miss. You never know what he's going to do. He needs to be fired. This is obvious. Everybody that's a fan of the team knows it. People that aren't fans of the team know it. You listen to any show because everybody is actually watching the Chargers because it was the afternoon game that everybody wanted to see. This team needs to fire Brandon Staley ASAP. The defense is non-existent. You cannot tell me he's a defensive head coach when the defense does not exist, okay? There's way too many times when there's nobody in the middle of the field. The middle of the field, there's nobody there. Over and over again, crossing routes, nobody there. He needs to be fired ASAP. It's not going to happen. We already know it's not going to happen, but it should have happened yesterday. Already should have been gone.
Yeah, already should have been gone. Completely agree with you there. And if you notice too, in that Lions game, there's this got around on TikTok, got sent to me multiple times, and you saw in the game every time there was a 3rd and short, 2nd and short, like the 3rd and 5, for example, and you saw the O-line get up of the Lions. The O-line of the Lions moved the defensive front for the Chargers a good 3 yards off the ball. So before the running back, before Montgomery or Gibbs even made their cut of where the hole is going to be or anything like that, our line was already 3 yards off, and they just needed to get 1. Or they could already get the 1st down before even making a move. That just shows how physical the Lions were and just how not physical the Chargers are. And right, that's been a theme all year. They've yet to be the more physical team out there on the field in every single matchup they've had. And Staley too, he had a press conference where he was trying to hang his hat on the rush defense that they've had and says, well, that's been strong this year. Let's pause on this really quick, numbnuts, because I got something for you. The offenses that the Chargers have faced on the run have been terrible. He said, oh, look at the backs we faced. You faced Derrick Henry, who's, by the way, the Titans don't even believe in him anymore. Spears gets more carries than him in the 4th quarter. So there's not the Derrick Henry from the past. Titans are also 16th in rushing offense this year. Vikings, 29th in rushing offense. Raiders, 30th in rushing offense. Cowboys, I'll give you 11th in rushing. Your rare game where you did well. Go ahead, pat yourself on the back, have some Pringles, get the hell out. Chiefs, 19th in rushing this year. Bears, you had a backup quarterback and a backup running back and a rookie running back. So I'm not going to count that one at all. They were going to run it from the start. Congrats, you stopped the freaking Bears. Jets, 18th in rushing. Lions, 4th in rushing, and they simply embarrassed you. They cut off everything that you could do. You lost that was so bad that you lost a chance to put the Charger logo on your helmet on Monday. Like, that's how bad they got beat on the ground. So before you have this notion that this Chargers run defense is so strong, it's not strong. They're piss poor. It's not that strong of an offense. Yeah, the Dolphins, they're 2nd in rushing yards, and they stopped them. Well, also, they were throwing it all over us, so you're going to stop running the damn ball when you get past to infinity and still score.
Yeah. Okay. So here's the deal. Now, as we said, we called for Staley to move on. Is it too late for the Chargers to make a move? Would it make a difference right now in the season? I'm a believer that the players don't believe in him. We already know that Eckler doesn't believe in him. At the same time, it's no fun, I think, calling for coaches to get fired when they don't deserve to be fired. The deal is, how does a team respond to their coach? And again, your offense or your defense, we all know how it works. Either you're an offensive coach or you're a defensive coach. You have a defensive coach that can't handle his side of the ball. Wasn't able to do it in the postseason, wasn't able to do it in games last year, but it was glaring, of course, what happened in the Jacksonville game. The fact that the Jets, one of the worst teams in the NFL, gained more yards than you, even though you pulled out a win, they gained more yards than you. You look at the game against the Lions, you give up 41 points. I understand they're a decent team, but guess what? The offense did their thing. Kellen Moore might have had his best game on Sunday calling plays. He did his thing. You score that many points on offense against a playoff team, you did your job. And for me, being in these locker rooms with the Chargers for many years, Mario and Josh, when games are over and there's a locker room is separated, defense and offense, and guys are looking at each other like, I did my job today, but that guy right there didn't. I did my job, and guess what? That entire side didn't do their job. And man, the last thing you want from a team is guys pointing fingers. And it's one thing if you're winning and you have some problems in the locker room, and you say, well, guys, just go about their job. The fact that they're losing and losing the way they're losing, it comes from one guy. This is, for me, I'm in favor of a move, and it's the same reason I said it, over a year ago, that I thought he needs to go. It's funny now that it's a national story. And I think it became a national story because of how the Raiders have reacted to their coaching change.
Brandon Staley has given up 400, and I'm going to say Brandon Staley because it's his defense. Brandon Staley's defense has given up 475 yards 4 times this season. Boys, it's week 10. 4 times this season, and they had a bye week already. Twice they've given up over 500 yards. What does it take? What does it take? And honestly, Mario, do you think this is more of a Brandon Staley issue, or do you think it's a talent issue? Because the Chargers are second in the league in how much money has gone towards their defense. This isn't a team that's, not addressed it. I know J.C. Jackson was a swing and a miss, but they have spent money on guys like Kendricks and Mack and other players that they brought in to make this defense better.
Oh,
Bosa. Yeah, Bosa. I got to forget Bosa.
Had a good
Do you
year.
think it's more having a good
what
year?
did you just say? He's not having a good year. Don't say that.
Not a bad year. Not a bad year.
He is not having a good year. He's not. What are you expecting from him? What are you expecting from him? Honestly, I'm not trying to be a jerk, dude. What are you expecting from a guy making $30 million a year?
Okay, obviously you expect a lot from him, but I can't say I've been not as angry as I was last year about his performances. I think he stepped it up this year big time.
He was the invisible man last year. He didn't show up almost the entire year.
Okay, so this year's an improvement.
The fact he walks in and out of the stadium on his own 2 feet is an improvement. He had 1 tackle last week. And the biggest play of the game, he was on his face right there in the turf. He didn't do anything. When you need to step up right now, he didn't do it.
Okay, but look, we've done this debate 1,000 times.
I know.
I'm gonna go back to I'm gonna go back to Josh's question.
Okay.
Here's the thing I think I wish Staley did, right? I think at the end of last year, I wish Staley, because I really don't think personnel is really that big of a problem. Like you said, if you do name game of this defense and you look at the money that's spent, there's special players all around the field. And I think scheme wise, you can figure something out and get guys in right positions to make plays. My problem with Staley is at the end of last year, yes, you keep your job. Do not look around and go, all right, we're not a good defense. Statistically, we're not a good defense. And I'm the play caller on defense. So why don't I just bring someone else in? Because that's a good move to save your butt as a head coach. Bring a guy in and go, all right, tell the GM this side of the ball is now fixed. And if it's not fixed, then I can just fire this guy mid-year, the Frank Wright of what he did last year. Fire the offensive coordinator mid-year, then you take back over the duties, and then you're like, all right, it's fixed again. There's a way to kind of save your ass a little bit that, maybe we'll work out with you, maybe won't.
True.
But that's my biggest problem with Staley is you have not been successful as being this defensive genius and for the Chargers. Why didn't you just bring someone else in and go, all right, I'm going to put my ego aside and go, we need someone else in here to help defensively. And right now it's not me that's doing it. And that's my biggest problem with Staley, Dave.
Okay. So It's a couple things. One is just to clear the Bosa thing. By the way, you need a battery in that smoke detector.
Yeah.
Chief?
All right, I didn't know if you were gonna
They
hear
got
it
a
yet.
smoke detector.
All right, listen, fellas, we can't reach it. It's really high on the ceiling. We can't reach it, so it's
You better
what
reach it
is.
before you go to sleep. You will not sleep tonight with that thing going.
I've already dealt with
know?
it. It's been a problem.
Your neighbors must love you, dude. You're setting off theirs too. All right.
Yeah.
So Bosa's on pace for 12 sacks, 40 tackles. To give you an out, would that be good enough numbers? Like if you heard the Chargers were acquiring a guy as a free agent who had 12 sacks last year, would you be happy? Would that be enough for you to go? He's worth the money.
12 sacks in 1 year.
That's what it's going to be. 12 sacks, 40 tackles. If you double his stats right now, that's what it would be. He has 6.5 sacks right now.
That's pretty good.
It's not bad. Is it worth $30 million? Isn't it the same thing as basically 12 holding calls on the other team? I mean, I don't know.
Let me ask you a question. Dave, I'll ask you back a question. Where would you want your money to be spent? Would you want it on a guy that gets after a quarterback, or would you want it to be on a linebacker, maybe in the middle of the field that makes tons of tackles, something that Kenneth Murray has completely not done the last few weeks?
This is a great question here, because the most concerning thing ever said on the show was the stat you gave a second ago about how the Chargers have spent the second most amount of money on their defense out of any team in the league. Number one, I know, is Pittsburgh, right? It's the Steelers. Yep. Okay. Guess what? The Steelers get what they paid for. The Steelers have gotten what they pay for with those guys. One day when Minkah Fitzpatrick's going in the Hall of Fame, they're going to go, how the hell did the Dolphins give up on that guy? Like, what's going on? You know, the fact TJ Watt's as good as he is, that the Watt family has two sons that are both going in the Hall of Fame and are ridiculous.
Of course, the Chargers had Derek, by the way.
Yeah, we got Derek Watt. We pointed this out. This is one of my favorite things that we do. The Chargers have always gotten the worst brother out of any family. Right? Want to go through the list real quick? I love it when we go through the list.
I'll try my best. I'll try my best here. We had Eli Manning for a second. He was the second best brother. We had Pouncey, the second best Pouncey.
Yeah,
we had the twin. We had the second best Bosa. We do have the second best Bosa. We have the third best Watt. I might be missing a few here. Kind of got me off guard.
I'll give you one. My favorite one is we had one of the Gronkowski brothers.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Wait, who do we have?
He could be a good locker room guy.
Either way, he was a Gronk. Not
he was a Gronk.
Yeah,
sad.
He sold jerseys, I bet.
Not good.
Yeah, the Chargers never get the good brother. We're missing a couple more in there, but anyway, it always makes me laugh when we go through the list there. So anyway, we're talking about the Steelers. They get what they pay for. The Chargers aren't getting what they pay for, and that's a Telesco problem. It goes back on Telesco. So going back to your initial question to me, what would I rather have? I tell you what, I think I'd rather have the big time corner. And here's the deal: you get people will argue back. How many teams have big time corners? I'm sure a lot of them don't. We definitely don't. But at the same time, I'll take a big-time linebacker then. I would take look, I know Fred Warners don't grow on trees, but I wish we had a Fred Warner type. We don't have that guy. You know, as I said, the guy that makes you go out and buy his jersey. We don't have that guy.
Yeah.
I would take it over what I get from Bosa.
I think if you were to ask a 49ers fan, would you rather have Nick Bosa or Fred Warner, they would tell you Fred Warner, just because he is so freaking good all over the field. And Nick Bosa is obviously great. But Fred Warner can cover your guy and can cover receivers and coverage, tight ends, make all the tackles on the field. I think it's just such a advantage when you have a guy like Fred Warner, like a Bobby Wagner. You watch the Seahawks play. This dude is all over the field. The Chargers haven't had one of those guys since Junior Seau, I believe, right? When was the last time the Chargers had a middle linebacker that was just like a freak? Just has not happened in a long time. Mario, we got to get to these questions, okay? There's been a lot of really good questions on our last show, and we want to dedicate a whole segment towards YouTube questions. We appreciate you guys writing in. The first question comes from Steph. My question for you guys: do you think this game against the Lions explains why Justin Herbert has been purposely not throwing to Quentin Johnston? It was painfully obvious that he isn't the guy to me, and it's clear we missed on the pick. Everyone gave Justin a hard time not looking his way, but thinking maybe QJ isn't coming along like he should. What do you think, Mario?
I think it was a game where you had to get it to your top playmaker, and it was a game that you needed to win. And two of those things, that's all Keenan Allen, and that's where it stops. It starts and stops at Keenan Allen. And I think in a game like that, it's not a game against like the Bears or Jets, for example, where you can kind of test some stuff out, and it's a team that you roll and you're more talented than. No, it's a team that's a step up in class. And in those games, it's not, all right, let's test this out. It's, all right, get to your playmakers, get to the opportunities where we have the best chances to score and the best chances to win this game. At the eyes of Keenan Allen, I don't think Herbert was not purposely not throwing to Johnson at all. Like, I don't think that was a thing. I just think because there was situations where he tried to take advantage of QJ in one-on-one situations. And, like I said, he's doing the Claypool where he just pulls a penalty, not a catch. But I think it was just a game where it was in a big-time moment, and in big-time games and big-time moments, you just simply go to your playmakers. Unless you're Joe Lombardi, you give it to Michael Bandy on a motion of Michael Bandy. But that's different story. I don't think QJ is a bust. I think there's still something there we can get out of him. I'm a big component of every guy should get 2 to 3 years to figure out what type of player they are in the NFL, because I think that's just a little bit of an adjustment period. But I don't know about you, Dave. I think it was just because big game, and those big game and big moments, it's Keenan Allen, and it's nothing, especially with Palmer and Williams out.
It's funny when we do the show. There are too many things we do on the show where I walk away and go, "Oh man, I wish we didn't talk about that or brought that up." Look, we had to talk about the Quentin Johnson thing about not knowing the playbook because Tony Romo brought it up, and most people watch the game on TV. They aren't listening to the radio. So we're sitting there watching the game on the national broadcast. Tony Romo made it clear that him and Kellen Moore still have a relationship. Kellen Moore was his backup when he was in Dallas. And he knew the plays that were going because a lot of stuff was stuff that they used, obviously, in the Dallas Cowboys offense. It was really a good game to watch on television if you're a football fan to know what was happening. But I thought, honestly, Tony Romo crossed the line, meaning that he was told that in privacy. Kellen Moore, I guarantee you, did not want Tony Romo to say, dude, this kid doesn't know the playbook. I mean, what does that do? And again, that goes back to Quentin Johnson's family, anyone that knows him and says, hey, you know what, this guy doesn't know the playbook. And it was talked about on the national broadcast. Millions of people heard him say it. So yeah, if I'm the quarterback, if I'm Justin Herbert, I have zero faith in a guy that doesn't know where he's going. I mean, he doesn't know okay, here, basic as can be. And anyone who played high school football, I think, thinks the same thing. Unless you play quarterback, all you're thinking about is what is my one job. And if you're a receiver, you're thinking, is this a pass play or is this a blocking play? That's the first thing that has to go through your mind. And maybe the second or third thing is, what the hell are we snapping that thing on? I forgot what he said. But you get number one, is this a blocking play or is this a passing play? And the fact that he went out for a pass when he was supposed to block shows you how far off he might be. Look, I've never experienced an NFL playbook. I imagine it's extremely hard. It's a foreign language. But, dude, what do they do for kids that struggle in school? You get him a tutor. You make sure that he catches up. And so, Mario, I don't even know if we're to the point of we're judging his athletic ability of can this kid play in the league or not play in the league. Obviously, he's extremely athletic. The fact he doesn't know where to go. If you're Justin Herbert, you have 2.5 seconds to 3 seconds to make a decision. How can you have faith to even look in his direction knowing you might get your face pushed in the dirt?
I'll argue with you on this. I bet you everything. Kellen Moore told Tony Romo that on purpose, so he could tell people Quentin Johnson's the problem, not me. That's the reason he's not getting the ball. This guy does not know how to learn the plays. I want you to say it.
Do you think he said that just to make him learn it? Is that why you think he said it, to put pressure on him?
To make Kellen Moore look better. Like, this dude doesn't know what he's doing. People are on my ass that I can't get him the ball. That's exactly what I think it is. I want people to know this is not my fault. And Kellen Moore's probably out after this year, right? He's probably going to get another opportunity, or he's going to get his first opportunity to be a head coach. But I think that's exactly what happened. And if you're a receiver waiting on the snap count, like, you don't know what your priorities are, because that bothers me more than anything when receivers jump in front of the ball. Just watch the ball, buddy. Like, don't worry what the snap count is. All right, next question, Mario.
Hold on. Mario, do you have anything to add to that? Do you have anything? No. Are we wrong? What do you think? Which direction is it? I mean, again, do you think that Tony Romo is basically putting that out there to help a friend out so he looks like the smarter one? Or do you think, for me, I feel like Josh, I'm sorry, I'm going to throw it real quick, my opinion on it, real fast. For me, I'm thinking I still have half a season left with this kid. Like, I can't let him think he can't trust me. Like, you know what I mean? You break that kid by embarrassing him in front of a national TV audience.
He didn't do it, though. That's why he told Tony Romo to say it.
I think it's somewhere in between where it's to put that drive in him. Because I think sometimes all right, look, we told him over and over again in the locker room, we told him over again in meetings, but maybe we needed something leaked to get him going, right? Like, I could see that point. Like, all right, if you're going to keep, half-assing it on learning the playbook, learning the plays, like, all right, if this leaks, there's your fire. So I think maybe there could have been a little bit of that where it's not really saving more. It's more of like, all right, let's light the fire in this kid and go. All right, now we go. And sorry again for that
You might
freaking
be
thing.
right.
I hate, yeah.
It's
Fire
no,
department,
you might be
suck.
right. Maybe it was. Maybe you're 100% right on this. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm not saying maybe I'm looking at it your way now. That it was leaked to, hey, you get the most out of him by him knowing the playbook. And that
we
it was
don't
leaked
know.
on
This is
purpose.
just we're just assuming
But
here.
it's
All
not.
right,
It's not good. It's not good. Imagine if you're Quentin Johnson and people start calling you and say, "Dude, Roma says you don't know what you're talking about." Basically, called you dumb.
learn the playbook, get it done.
Yeah, that's
All right,
true.
Mario. Next question comes from Sergio Lopez 9955. Thank you for the easy name, Sergio. We appreciate that. Did Eric Kendricks look ridiculously slow this game, or is it just me? What do you think, Mario?
Oh, I saw this earlier and I started like looking back in the game earlier today and like it's like, all right, did he look a little slow to me? I don't think he looked a little slow, but didn't love the performance. Like it's just one of those things where it's like I don't know if I can sit here and go nitpick and go, yeah, he looks slow and he looks off. He's not even close of who he is of himself. Is his tackles a little low this year compared to on average? Yeah, but he also missed some games. So and he had 7 tackles still in that matchup. And I think obviously you want Kendricks there, for linebacker position to make tackles and make plays, but a lot of his role too is leadership. And you wanted that at the linebacker position, I think, and that was something that you maybe didn't have last year. And I think maybe in that sense is where he falls short. I know Dave's about to rip this guy a new one.
No, I'm not. I'm not going to rip him. I'm ripping the Chargers. Why did guys come to the Chargers and get worse? Why did Kyle Van Noy look slow? Yeah, what they're saying is exactly what we said about Van Noy. Like, man, the Patriots knew what they were doing. Van Noy is not as fast as he used to be. It's not as good as he used to be. Man, Belichick knew when to get rid of him. Well, guess what? Van Noy looks great this year. Why is it when they come here, all of a sudden they lose a step or they don't know what to do? Kendricks looked like to me in that game, honestly, and I know it's not the case, but this is how it just looked. It looked like he didn't go to practice last week. Like he didn't understand what the hell was about to happen. You know what I mean? Like, did you watch film? Were you prepared? He just looked like he wasn't prepared. He was caught off guard on like almost the entire game.
Okay, I'll defer to Mario on this because he watches a lot of NFC North football. If you could do it all over again, would you have signed Eric Kendricks? That's the question, right? Before you think, let me add something in while you think about this. I cannot tell you how much it bothers me that Kyle Van Noy has 5 sacks in limited time with the Baltimore Ravens. We said on this show, bring him back. The guy played really well at the end of the year. He had a streak of like 5 straight games with the sack, and then you let him just go to any other team.
Yeah.
Really annoying. All right, but Mario, to answer the question, what do you think?
Because I'm not saying I'm not a Kendricks hater or anything like that, but like I don't know if I would see that big of a difference if they re-signed Tranquil and he stayed. Like I tell me if I'm wrong, but has there really been that big of a difference? Like you're gonna give me we mentioned the run game statistics earlier. You're gonna give me that because I'm not gonna buy that. I'm not gonna buy into that at all. The defense still sucks. Now I'm not saying linebacker is a do or die position on the defensive side. It's an important position, but it's like the running back position. And it's going lower and lower. I mean, it's one of those things that's like, yeah, good he's there. Has it changed a lot of things? No, not really.
All right, next question. We're going to go to Shabado55. Great show, guys. Appreciate that. Didn't Staley have a lot to say in defensive personnel? Has a lot of his former players and thought I read it. I can't read shit. Oh, sorry. He said, all right, basically the question is, isn't the personnel made by a 3-headed monster? Dean's son is saying that Dean's son doesn't know what he's doing running ops. He hired Telesco, and they've been hiring a string of bad coaches. Since John and TT took over, Tom Telesco, they have 2 playoffs wins. This starts at the top. I completely believe that an owner's son should never be in charge of $1 billion franchise. Like, you can't tell me that this guy knows what he's doing with football more than people that live and breathe football, that are actually football guys. I understand he's been around the game for a long time because of his dad, but I don't know if he's the most qualified person. And my Dave has the best insight on this because he's been around him personally for a long time. What do you think about that?
I've been around this kid since 1998. Okay. And he does live and breathe and sleep football. I mean, this is his thing. Now, so I met him in '98, right before he was leaving for school to go to, I think, Wake Forest is where he went to college. But he worked with the Chargers nonstop, and he worked in the player personnel. Like he's basically trained as a scout from the time he was young to this is what you look for, this is what you do.
Who do you learn from?
Now, okay, he learned from
Anybody
every
good?
GM they had. He lived.
Oh, great.
He learned.
Okay.
Okay, well, no, well, I'll get to it. He learned from AJ Smith. He learned from John Butler, right? The guys who put the Buffalo Bills rosters together when they went to 4 straight Super Bowls. He learned from those guys, and at the same time, I don't know what he put into his head on how much he took. Maybe he thought those guys weren't good at their job, because the proof is in the pudding, as I say. And guess what? By record, he hasn't done a great job. Jerry Jones' son has done a better job than he has. If you look at sons that basically have something to do with the roster.
What have they won?
They haven't won jack squat, but at the same time, they put pretty talented rosters together. He's not terrible at it. I don't know. Here's the deal. When you have that much money, you kind of make the rules. And unfortunately, it's the fan base that gets hurt by it. I think there are a lot of changes to be made. If I was an owner of a team, as cool as that sounds, like that would be my lifelong dream. If you could see you could make one thing happen, I don't own a professional team. I wouldn't make the decisions. I would hire people that I think outside of family to make those decisions. That's what I would do. So, I mean, Josh, as you're saying, you don't think he's good at his job. I'm not going to disagree with you because they haven't won anything.
We talked about it at the beginning of the show. The Chargers always have talented teams, but they haven't won. And you bring up the Buffalo Bills, those teams that went to the Super Bowl. They never won. I understand they went to 4 straight Super Bowls. They lost 4 straight Super Bowls. The Chargers have never won. The Cowboys with Stephen Jones have never won. Give me a winner. Like, you can't tell me this guy's doing a good job if they never win. Do you feel the same way, Mario?
Yes, and I think the part that they struggle the most at is coaching. They have yet to hit coaching, right?
You get what you pay for.
You get what you pay for. And that's where they always fall short, is the coaching just never seems to add up. And I think that's where it falls short. And look, shout out to the person that commented that, like, you made a good point. It starts at the top. It truly starts at the top. If the person at the top doesn't want to win, the person below is not going to win. That's just how it is. And, it makes sense. And look, things don't change at the top. And the problems that the Chargers have had have not changed. So, let's put that right.
All right. Well, that leads in the next question. I'm gonna go right back to you, Mario. It comes from Jay Blaze 1321. Question BCP, kind of like that BCP. Who is the best suitor to replace Staley next year if we go in that direction? Another unproven coordinator like Ben Johnson, a veteran coach? I personally prefer Johnson, but would that be just another cheap hire? What do you think, Mario?
I think this is not a cheap hire, by the way. I don't think Ben Johnson's a cheap. I think it's a race to get Ben Johnson. Like, I would never ever say that he's a cheap hire just for the sole fact of, if you listen to if you go, the Bears right now, if you listen to any Bears show right now and they talk Flus getting fired, if you go to, people want Dable kind of on the hot seat and you go, all right, who's going to replace him? Ben Johnson's a name that comes up over and over and over again, right? Like, this is an offensive coordinator. This is a guy that took Jason Goff, who not a lot of people wanted anything to do with, and turned him Jared. Jason Goff as a Bulls reporter. Wow. Jared Goff comes in and he turns him into an all-pro quarterback and arguably a top quarterback in the league. And, he changes the offense. He changes, he gets St. Brown going. He gets their offensive run game going, which changes this past offseason. He's a very, very smart head coach, offensive coordinator. He's going to be a very good head coach. A lot of people believe he's a head coach. I don't think it's a cheap hire. I think that's an expensive hire. And I think this offseason, it's going to be a race to get Ben. And I don't know about you, Dave, but I'd rather be first and last in that category.
All right, so a couple things. One is going back to the Staley deal. As I said, you get rid of him, you put Kellen Moore there, see what he looks like for half a year. See how does the team react to having an offensive head coach? Because look, Kellen Moore is basically there on a 1-year deal anyway, right? Unless Kellen Moore is the head coach in 2024, he's not coming back to the Chargers. If we bring in Ben Johnson, you aren't keeping Kellen Moore, right? Ben Johnson's going to go, it's my offense, I'll take care of it, don't worry about it. Here's the issue that I thought the Chargers might have a clean path to getting him, because I'm looking at the other rosters going, he has the choice of the league. I mean, he's the hottest coach that everybody's talking about right now. He can go to the Bears, he can go to the Chargers, he can go to the Raiders, you name it. He might even be able to go to the Patriots, whatever. The team now that to me steps up where I go, the only one that I think for a second that has that quarterback, they go, do they have a better chance of winning than the Chargers do? Is this where I'd rather go? The Buffalo Bills are going to be looking for a new coach next year. If you're Ben Johnson, what job is more appetizing to you, the Chargers or the Bills?
And that is a really good question. That is a really good question. I would just pick the Chargers. I think Justin Herbert's a better quarterback to work with than Josh Allen. You watched the game yesterday and you see a million turnovers. Josh Allen's thing is turnovers. Justin Herbert has the big time arm, just like Justin Herbert has the big time arm, just like Josh Allen, but he doesn't turn the ball over like Josh Allen does. I would want to work with a quarterback that makes smarter decisions. And who knows how long Josh Allen plays? I know he's as big as a house, but he runs the ball all the time and takes crazy hits. Cam Newton, same thing, was a big dude that took crazy hits. I want to work with a guy that's more sustainable, like Justin Herbert.
To your point too, Josh, how long Diggs is going to be there? That guy gets more pissed off by the second. You know what I'm saying?
10 minutes.
Yeah.
If the trade deadline was Wednesday, he would be traded now.
Yeah, as long as a Chick-fil-A drive-through. Yeah, he's out of there.
Yeah. Eventually, yeah. I mean, Diggs right now is like when you used to date that hot stripper that you're like, man, she's pretty hot, but then you're like, there's a lot of baggage, and they just cut her loose. That's what Diggs is right now. As good as he is, it's time to cut him. It's like time to cut him loose.
Yeah. See,
I'm the only one that relates to this.
I would stay away from the Bills. I'd stay away from the Bills, man. I think the Bills are the biggest pretenders. We said this beginning of the show. We'll pat ourselves on the back when we deserve it, which has been a lot lately. The Bills have been the biggest pretenders in the NFL for the last 3 years, Mario, and I wouldn't want to take that job. Is there any other team that you can think about that would even be close to the Chargers saying, man, I want to work with them? The only thing I can think about would be like Caleb Williams, right? Like a quarterback that everybody thinks is so good. You get a clean slate with him. But I'd still want Justin Herbert, a guy that's already been in the league that is young.
Yeah, I think
Justin Herbert played great right in front of him, right?
He did. Yeah, he did. Yeah. But your worry is that like, he loves Caleb Williams and like he wants that partnership, right? Like he wants that Reed partnership early on. Where like Herbert, like he can still obviously improve Herbert, but like he's almost kind of got.
You can adopt. You don't have to have your child. You can adopt. There's nothing wrong with adopting. You can adopt.
Ben Johnson could rent Jared Goff's Southern California home. It'd be great.
Ready for this though? Counter to not wanting the Chargers job. I think Bills might fall in this too with their cap space. The cap space would be an issue because you take it over and go, what are you going to do with your cap? Like that would be a worry. If I'm Ben Johnson, a guy that I'm not interviewing for a job, I'm interviewing you for the job. The cap space would be a thing I'd worry about.
Look, if you're Ben Johnson, you can prove your worth with this offense right away. Like you usually show the ownership right away. My offense is fine. I'm not the one that put all that money into that defense over there. Give me a little bit of time to fix it. But look at the Buffalo Bills right now. You look at their cap space. Not only forget Diggs, who's disgruntled and just a cancer to that locker room. Dude, look at all the money they gave Von Miller. I mean, they're like, what? I mean, look what they thought they were getting and how it worked out. I mean, the Bills are in a lot of trouble. The Bills waited 20 years for that window of opportunity, and now that window's starting to close already.
It seemed like a dumb move at the time, to be honest with you. The Von Miller thing just didn't seem right. Like, dude, how many more years do you think this guy has left? He's been in the league for a long time. I thought it was dumb.
More big injuries than anybody, it seems like.
Yeah. Before we move on to the schedule, the two big advantages the Chargers have that other teams probably don't when you want to talk about Ben Johnson is the quarterback and the left tackle. Give me a better combination that needs a coach. Nobody. All right, Dave, why don't you get into the playoff picture and what you think?
Hold on. First of all, this is the biggest hillbilly show of all time. Like I have to do this show and I'm looking at your guys' faces. I can't even look at you guys. Like I've already fired in 2 dips during the show. This is the biggest redneck show of all time.
Got to date my cousin in 45 minutes. Go Pack, go.
I mean, I'm waiting for Mario to start smoking out of a Mountain Dew can. This is ridiculous. Mario's looking at me like, it's like, are you daring me? All right. So when you look at what's going on in the playoff picture for the Chargers and you go, okay, where are we at and what do we need to do? The Chargers right now are the 12th seed in the AFC. There's 16 teams in the obviously in the conference. They're number 12 seed. Like, well, how the hell did that just happen? So to knock it out for you, KC's 1, Baltimore's 2, Jacksonville 3, Miami 4, Pittsburgh 5, Cleveland 6, Houston, which is amazing, 7, Cincinnati 8. Okay. And at the same time, you're going, man, that's pretty good. All those teams are pretty good. Nothing would really surprise you. I think I'm not sold on Jacksonville. I don't know what happened, but it seems like they've taken a step back. They're just in such a bad conference. It's crazy that, the AFC Division South is Yeah, sorry, the division. The AFC South has 2 teams right now that are going to make the playoffs if the season ended, of course, today. And the Colts are the 9 team trying to get in. So overall, where the Chargers are at, that's not where they want to be. The only teams that are behind the Chargers are the Jets, Broncos, Titans, Patriots. Titans and Patriots look like they have completely mailed it in for the draft. But right now, guys, the Chargers, it's amazing to me. Number one, they haven't fired their coach by looking at this. And two, I just can't believe where they're at. Like, I just can't believe my eyes when I look at the standings to go, how in the hell is this team 4-5 and 12 out of 16 teams?
Brandon Staley. It's the reason they're 4-5. Brandon Staley. What jumps out to you, Mario, when you look at the playoff picture? Is it the Chargers because that's the team we watch, or is there another team that just shocks you and saying, wow, I can't believe they're there? Is it the Texans?
It's 100% the Texans because I thought no way in hell with that receiving core there to get anywhere. And D'Amico Ryans, honestly, JJ Watt said this in so many interviews. The job that D'Amico Ryan's about to do is going to be incredible, and he was right. I mean, the fact that they're 7th seed right now, that they're in the playoffs, and by the way, they're the 4th easiest schedule remaining. Cardinals, Titans twice, you just say are kind of nailing it in. Broncos, Jets, Jags, Browns. Like, they very much are alive to get into the playoffs, and that's truly unbelievable. Stroud's offensive rookie of the year has it on lock. That surprised me a lot. But I think the thing that excites me for the Chargers is a lot of fraudulent things ahead of them. So like the 4 teams ahead of them, Raiders are ahead of them right now, second hardest remaining schedule, and they're about to go way, way down. Just the hype of them, it's going to go down.
I don't know if
Bills,
the Raiders win another game the rest of the year. No joke.
Exactly.
Raiders schedule's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. So like that could happen. Bills, 4th hardest schedule remaining. The Colts, that's going to fall apart. Gardner Minshew is going to start tweaking out here in a second. Remind everyone why he's a backup quarterback. That's going to happen. Bengals, every time they get it going, they don't get it going. And they have single-handedly the hardest schedule remaining in the NFL. So that makes me excited. And, like Texans are still young, so maybe they drop a little bit. So there's room for the Chargers to go up in this. But, Dave, the thing that worries me is that the AFC North arguably should all, 3 out of 4 are going to get in. Maybe 4 out of 4 could get in. Like, that's the thing that really hurts the Chargers is that.
No, I agree with you. I mean, the AFC North has been insane. I still believe, boy, I'll say the Ravens are the best team in that division. I thought going into the season it was the Bengals. I mean, obviously Joe Burrow was hurt at the beginning and they were on a run. They had an incredible loss at home last week to the Texans, and I think that right there made you think, are the Bengals for real or not for real? Man, I'm not so sure, guys, where this plays out, except for the fact that the Chargers still have a chance to control things inside their own division. They can knock some teams off in what should be easy wins. But at the same time, you're hoping the AFC North starts to knock the hell out of each other, and maybe only 2 of those teams get in.
I can't believe a Kenny Pickett-led team and a Deshaun Watson-led team, the Browns, Deshaun Watson, can make the playoffs because they have played horrible. You watch these teams play and you get upset and you think, oh my God, they're actually in the playoff contention, and the Chargers have Justin Herbert and they're not. It's disgusting. I agree with you, Mario, on the Colts. I think they're pretenders. Gardner Minshew, how long can this last? Chargers, I used to say we're in a good division, and it's going to be hard to make the playoffs going into last season. We got the Broncos with, they got good players. They got Russell Wilson. They got the Raiders. They got Devontae Adams. And it's like, I think the Chargers are actually in a bad division, and they still aren't good. If we were in the AFC North, we'd say, oh my God, our division's great. It's not our fault. No, it's not the case. In the AFC East now, what the hell happened there? Every team in that division is still on a losing streak. Still.
Yeah.
It's crazy how things have changed so fast. I think the Chargers need to get into the dance because if they get in, I think they can beat anybody, but who knows if that happens? I mean, it's been such a mess all year long.
Yeah, okay. Are we dumb? Are we dumb, or are we just like do we just love that team and root for them so hard that we still believe they can beat anybody? I mean, because I honestly believe what Josh just said. Against any team, I would not want to face the Chargers. Now, it sounds so stupid saying that, considering they have a losing record.
We're not. I mean, we're dumb, but we're not dumb in that fact because we watched the Chargers play a Super Bowl contender in the Lions because they're absolutely a Super Bowl contender, and you watch our offense lead 5 drives in a row with touchdowns to end the game, and then you lose, and you think we're not going to make the playoffs. How are we not going to make the playoffs? We just scored 5 touchdowns in a row against a Super Bowl contender. Yeah, it's just the most Chargers thing of all time, Mario. It's just what they do.
It's what they do, and I don't think Chargers are your worst nightmare to play anymore because of the injuries. Like I just think if I'm defense coordinator, I go, yeah, we're gonna simply double team Keenan Allen this whole game and make Quinn Johnston and company ever have 12 catches for 110 yards. And if they have that at the end of the day, they have that at the end of the day. That's what I'm going to take away. Quick little thing here too, just to show what other people think around it in the league. When I went on Tickathon, ranks the schedules, Chargers were an easy opponent, not a hard opponent.
Really?
Are you guys surprised by that at all? Yeah, they were an easier opponent.
No, I'm not surprised.
I just thought it was interesting, very interesting. I was like, really? Okay.
It shouldn't be. When you have a franchise quarterback that makes that much money, it shouldn't be.
Yeah. It was tough. By the way, we still
tough.
sweep Broncos?
Dude, it sucks
No.
right now that the Broncos are playing well.
I agree
You
with
know?
Josh. I don't think we sweep them. I don't think we do.
No.
Very frustrating. Let me tell you, as dumb as this sounds, when you look at the Chiefs, like the Chiefs have major holes too, you know, and you go, what the hell? Just like nothing goes our way right now. Everything goes KC's way. Like there's certain teams, everything just seems to go their way, and nothing seems to go the Chargers' way. I know it sounds like sour grapes, but seriously,
It's true. Even Patrick Mahomes was on the Manning cast last night, and they asked him what he thought about this season. He's like, dude, we haven't even played well. He's like, our defense has played out of their minds. Our offense hasn't looked good, and we're 7-2. That's scary for the rest of the league. That's what he said. Mike Tomlin just shows you how good these coaches are and what the difference they make. The Steelers have literally have a petition out to fire their offensive coordinator, and they're ahead of the Chargers. Like, their team's a mess, and they still win.
Yep.
It just doesn't make any sense.
All right,
No,
Matt
and
Canada is terrible.
Perfect example again how the Steelers, everything goes their way. Like certain franchises, what the hell's happening here? You know, it is so frustrating the way it works out. Unbelievable. All right, hey, before we get out of here, I'll tell you, Mario, what happened to me yesterday. Okay, where it was obviously tough to get that stupid sweatshirt off. So yesterday was my birthday. Josh took me out with my wife and his fiance, and we go out to dinner. Then we said, you know what do you want to do? I go, you know what? I haven't been bowling in about 10 years. And I said, let's go bowling. So Monday night, we can watch the Monday Night Football game. We're going to go bowling. You know, again, why not? So we go bowling, pay for 2 hours, Mario, and we're going, oh, we're going to get like 4 games in this thing. And we go through game 1, we go through game 2. All of a sudden, here comes, a little birthday candle coming out with ice cream and cookies, whatever the bowling alley cooked up for us. I had no idea. And, I got to make a wish. And I turned to Josh. I go, well, I'm done blowing out these candles and wishing for the Clippers to win every year because that doesn't work. I never I never root for the Clippers. Screw those guys. But I was just screwing around with Josh and blow out the candle. And then I go to throw my next ball. Okay. And dude, I go to throw. And man, when my hand is right, like here, dude, there's like this noise in my ear. I'm sorry, loud. I'll go louder. It goes like that. I hear a pop. Okay. It's my right shoulder. And I thought I dislocated my shoulder. I thought I separated my shoulder, something. And I turn. I didn't even watch the ball. I almost got a strike, by the way. Left one going. And I turn and I go towards the bathroom. I turn and looked at Josh and go, hey, follow me. Because I thought I needed him to pop my shoulder back into place. And which he's never done before. But for some reason, he was going to be my guy to do it. And because the pain was ridiculous. And so sure enough, Josh is like, dude, your shoulder's not separated. And I'm like, well, where the hell's the pain coming from? Because now it feels like there's fire in my right arm, like in my bicep. It feels like there's a match under my skin. It feels so hot, dude. It's ridiculous. And sure enough, ends up, man, that I tore the tendon from my shoulder into my elbow, and I ruptured my bicep, my right bicep. So, dude, the pain wasn't fun. But at the same time, I'm like, son of a bitch. I'm looking at my arm. I'm like, it looks like as a doctor told me today, or told me last night, it's like what Aaron Rodgers had his Achilles tendon. Remember how you saw it go up like that?
Yeah.
That's what happened to my bicep. So it completely went up, came back down, and it has settled in my elbow. Basically, all the muscle from my shoulder has settled in basically towards my elbow. There's nothing.
The big Lembrowski on the IR, huh?
Dude, not for a little bit of time, for a long time. Man, it sounds like might be a year before I could use my right arm. This is not fun.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. No, very disappointed. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Anyway, yeah, crazy story. Yeah. So Josh probably had a better view of it than anybody, but when that pop happened, it was no joke, man. That freaking hurt.
Yeah, when he motioned me to go to the bathroom to pop his shoulder, and I'm like, I don't do this. I don't want to do this. I've never done this in my life. Like, I'm not Mr. Miyagi. I don't know how to do this.
Yeah, dude, I would have killed for Mr. Miyagi.
I was
Yeah.
so hoping that he popped it, but like he like messed it up more. He's
Oh
like,
my
that
God.
feel better?
Dude.
No, it didn't. Oh my bad.
Yeah, you just wanted the pain to go away, you know? I mean,
Yeah.
that was it. When I went to the yard this morning, I was like, "What's going on?" And I kind of told him, I go, "I need you to call all the king's horses and all the king's men. Like I'm calling for Humpty Dumpty. Just fix it, you know?" I go, "Who's the person in the back that kisses it, makes it feel better? Because it hurts like hell right now." You're like,
It's
"We don't have those people, sir." Are you sure?
it's slightly funny. It's slightly funny that out of all of the sporting events this happened.
Bowling.
It's
Bowling.
bowling.
Right?
Yeah, he throws 500 pitches of BP every day, doesn't get hurt, and then he bowls.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. I throw 500 pitches of batting practice every day at a high school and do not get hurt ever. And sure enough, man. But yeah, that was ridiculous. If the music wasn't so damn loud, I think Josh would have heard that pop though, but no one else heard what happened. He just heard me say I don't know what I said.
Oh.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
you're like, if
so
it
when-
wasn't for Dan Bruno Mars, you would have heard that. I was like, what?
When's surgery? When you have to do surgery and everything?
I'm trying to schedule it as soon as I can.
Yeah.
My doctor, well, someone told me it's going to be a while, but I'm pushing for it to be like, I wish I could do it tomorrow. I just want to start the road to recovery because
Yeah.
right now I can't even like brush my teeth or drink a cup of coffee, man. I got to go
Oh,
lefty
jeez.
with everything. Well, I
Oh,
know.
It's tough.
Is it-
Yeah.
Yeah. Think about when you have to use the bathroom tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oof.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
I've never gone lefty. Sounds kind of scary.
Yeah. It's, sometimes you'll be a pitch hitter, so a switch hitter,
I've never done it. It's not, yeah. Everyone's tried the stranger game. It doesn't work when you're trying to go to the bathroom, though.
All right. There it is.
All right. Well, there you go. That's the breakdown.
Happy
All right.
birthday. Happy birthday.
Oh, that was great. Loved it.
Yeah.
Don't recommend it.
Happy
There
birthday.
you go.
69. Never looked so good.
Jimmy Kimmel, Vinny Testaverde, and Whoopi Goldberg and I, we all share the same November 13th. How's that? There you go. Any
know what to do with
celebrities
that,
born on your
but-
birthday? Do you know, Mario?
Ooh, let me look that up because it's coming up. Let me look that up. Third.
Throw out the date so the
celebrity-
listeners know.
It's December 3rd. So it's Amanda Seyfried. Don't know who that is. Ozzy Osbourne. That's a weird
That was
one.
our dog's birthday. That was our dog's birthday.
Yeah,
Braden
that's true.
Fraser. Oh, and you guys' dog. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Sugar,
Annie
she's dead.
Gramer. Ooh, little baby.
I don't think he pronounces the T in that, but I think he goes by Lou.
Did I pronounce the T?
It's okay.
That's all right. There's a speech impediment here, gentlemen.
It's
What
all
about you,
right.
Josh? Any celebrities share your birthday?
Tommy Lasorda, R.I.P.
Ooh,
September 22nd.
good one.
I don't know who else.
One of
Wait,
my
it's
big-
September-
Carlos
September
Correa.
22nd.
Just Carlos Correa is a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of my
That's all I
biggest
know.
life regrets as a dad, just so you know, Mario, is
Okay.
that when Josh was a year old, I brought him down to the field because Tommy Lasorda let me work out with the Dodgers for an afternoon, which was one of the best days of my life. And he goes, for 3 hours, he let me work out with the Dodgers, take BP and shag balls in the outfield and stuff. Like Mike Piazza and all these guys were hitting rockets. And he held Josh for the entire time. Tommy Lasorda. He wouldn't give him back to anybody. He's like, he loved it. And I was like, Tommy Lasorda and Josh have the same birthday. Josh is being held by a Hall of Fame manager, and Josh turns into a Padre fan. It's so disappointing.
Wow.
Like we had it right there, man. It was like it was meant to be. He was going to be the biggest Dodger fan going.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
He fought it
Put me
hard.
down.
He's a
Put me
fighter.
down. I'm going to bring it up at the speech at the wedding. My one big
Reese's-
letdown as a dad. That was it. That was it.
Uh,
All right, we'll get out of here. We're going to be back on Thursday. Hey, Mario, I wish you were in town on Saturday. We're taking Fernando Ramirez out to eat, man, on Saturday. We're going to hook up with him. Big
Yeah.
contributor to the show. But Thursday, we're going to pick games. We're going to break down this game a little bit more. Obviously, the Chargers' next matchup. We do think they're going to get a win. I'm going to tell you right now, I guarantee it. We'll tell you by how much. And don't forget, we want you to participate in the scores and what you think the scores are going to be on YouTube as well. We appreciate all the YouTube comments. They were outstanding. Again, hope you enjoyed this shirts off thing. This was a crazy idea, Mario. Can't wait to see the screenshot when you send this thing out on social media. It's gonna be a little bit nuts. Yeah. So there you go. If you want to leave a comment on YouTube, please do. Thanks for listening and subscribing to that channel. And at the same time, if you listen to the Odyssey app, Bolt City Podcast, we really appreciate it. So for Mario Heron, Josh Palais, I'm Dave Palais. We'll see you in a couple days.